I got you. If you're struggling to feel your glutes and hamstrings do the work during any sort of hip hinging movement and feel like it's all your lower back, check these things off your list before performing the movement to make sure you're actually doing it right. So first things first, what we want to make sure we're doing is braking at the hips and not starting that movement or initiating the movement with our lower back. So it's really easy to just drop your lower back forward and your hips don't move a whole lot. You can just drop your lower back. Now what I wanna think about is you're almost trying to close a door with your butt. So you're starting with your hips and you're pushing back. To close a door with your butt, you wouldn't just bend over backwards and do that. If you wanted to close a door with your butt, you would push those buttocks back. And so that's exactly what I want you to do. Almost like you're getting karate chopped or just kicked right in your lower stomach. Just like that, that's how you're gonna start this movement. Another good cue I like to give a lot of my clients is making sure you're keeping that load on your glutes and hamstrings. So whenever you're going through any hip hinging exercise, think about that load being sat on your hamstrings and hips. Your arms are just here to hold the bar in place, but in theory, you could swing your arms around and it wouldn't do anything. What's driving the movement is all through your hips. And stay within your active range of motion. Not everyone can go from here all the way to their toes and keep proper form doing so. A lot of people's backs are gonna round when getting into that position. Now, some people do have the ability and mobility to just go straight all the way down and keep that back flat. I'm not one of those people, and the majority of y'all are not gonna be one of those people. Everyone's hips, flexibility, and mobility are a little bit different. So everyone's gonna have a little bit different of a range of motion during this movement. The big thing to look for when staying in your active range of motion is when your back starts to round. So what I want you to think about is as you're going down, you're pushing those buttocks back, those glutes back, and once you can't push your hips or glutes back anymore, then that's your active range of motion. That's all you're gonna get out of this before you start pushing down with that lower back. And then finally, the last big thing is really making sure you're keeping that bar close to you. A big mistake I commonly see made is people going down, but keeping that bar super far in front of them. And what this is gonna do is keep that load away from your center of gravity, and thus you're gonna be using your lower back rather than your glutes and hamstrings for that kind of movement. Keeping that bar right against those legs and just dropping straight down so that bar is at least over the mid portion of your foot. Again, hip hinging are super important movements into keeping your body functioning and keeping you comfortable in your everyday life. So make sure you're performing these kinds of movements and make sure you're doing them correctly. And if you're feeling it all in your lower back, then find some assistance and see what's wrong. Click that link in my bio to start with your one-on-one fitness and nutrition coaching today.